Welcome back to Ehlers-Danlos 101, the series where I teach you everything you need to know about living with EDS. Today we're going to be talking about how to work out with EDS. This is a question I get on my Instagram all the time because over the past 7 years I've worked really hard to be able to work out again with EDS. So in this video I'm going to be covering everything you need to know to start working out with EDS, how to create a workout plan, and most importantly, how to keep your joints safe. If you're interested in more videos about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video. So why do you need to work out with EDS? I mean, living with EDS is hard enough on its own. It feels like a challenge. But working out is so important because the more you work out, the less symptoms you're actually going to have. So since I started working out consistently, I've seen a huge decrease in my joint pain and my fatigue. So when you're starting to work out with EDS, you first need to start with making a workout plan. Now this can look different for everyone, but for me specifically, I wanted to focus on what kind of exercise I was going to be doing and the frequency, duration, and intensity of that exercise. So frequency is the amount of days that you're going to be working out. So decide if you want to be working out 5 days a week or 3 days a week. And then you need to decide how long you want your workouts to be. So do you want them to be 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours? I would probably say closer to 30 minutes to an hour, but you know, it's up to you if you want to be like super buff. And then the last thing you need to focus on is the intensity of your workouts. Do you want to be someone who's training like an athlete and you want to work out super hard? Or do you want working out to be more relaxing for you, something that's more enjoyable and fun? Personally, for me, I have found the best exercise for EDS to be weightlifting. Now, I know that can be scary for a lot of people, but weightlifting is so important for EDS. Because with EDS, your joints are super loose, right? And so your muscles are constantly having to overcompensate for your joints. And that leads to a lot of pain and a lot of fatigue. But if you strengthen the muscles, then they'll actually start to stabilize the joints and you'll see a huge improvement in your symptoms. So I think by far the best exercise for EDS is weightlifting. So when I was creating my plan, of course I said I want to do weightlifting, and then I decided, okay, my dream plan would be to work out 5 days a week and to do it for an hour each day. And I want it to be moderately intense. Like I want to challenge myself, you know. I used to be an athlete growing up, so I love playing soccer and doing all of that, so I want to challenge myself, but I don't want it to be so hard that I'm exhausted and can't do anything else. So I landed on the frequency of 3 days a week, the duration of 1 hour a day, and the intensity of like a moderate intensity, and of course the main exercise being weightlifting. Okay, so you've got your dream workout plan. How do we get there? Now, this is honestly the most challenging part of working out with EDS. Because if you have EDS, I'm pretty sure you've had one of those days, probably in the new year, where you go, I'm just going to push through the pain, I'm going to work out, and then you go work out for an hour, and then you cause a flare-up, and you're bedridden for a week or maybe 2 weeks. And that is the worst thing that you can do. We want as much as possible to avoid having a flare-up, that way you can work out consistently. So what I did is I found my baseline. I found the amount of working out that I could do without causing a flare-up or any other symptoms, because that was the only way I was going to be able to work out consistently. So you need to find your baseline. The way I did this was through trial and error. So I tried working out, 1 hour, 3 days a week. Bad idea, don't do that. I then tried to go to 30 minutes, that caused a flare-up. I went to 10 minutes, that caused a flare-up. Went to 5 minutes, that caused a flare-up, until I was at 1 minute, 1 time a week. And that was all I could work out without causing a flare-up. That was the most I could do, but it was something. So I started out with 1 minute a week with no weights, and then I slowly increased that every single week. So the first week it was 1 minute, the second week it was 2 minutes, the week after that 3 minutes, blah, 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 until a year later I'm working out an hour at a time. So it is so important to go slow. I know it is so incredibly frustrating, especially if you're somebody who used to work out, used to be an athlete, and you're having to go down to 1 minute a week of no weights and just doing the exercises in your room. I know how frustrating that can be. I was there. But if you want to work out consistently with EDS, that is what you have to do. You have to get to the point where you can work out without causing a flare-up. And then from there you build up slowly. So that's why you create your dream workout plan, right? You create what you want to do, what you want it to look like, and then you just scale it back. And then you slowly build up to that point. Because it doesn't matter if it takes 2 years to get that point. It doesn't matter if it takes 5 years. You're going to get there. But right now what you're doing of just working out as hard as you can, causing a flare-up and then not being able to work out at all, it's not working. It's not sustainable, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So please trust me when I say start at your baseline. So the next step is to actually plan out your actual workouts. So we've talked about our dream workout plan, how often we're gonna be working out, how long, how intense, we're talking about how to build up to the workouts, but what should your actual workouts look like when you're weightlifting? So for me, I like to do 2 sets, so repeating an exercise 2 times for 8 to 10 reps. So that means, doing the repetition of the motion 8 to 10 times. And then whenever I can hit 10 to 12 reps, then I increase the weight. So for me, my workouts are structured with 1 to 2 compound lifts, 2 to 4 accessory lifts, and then about 20 minutes of cardio if I feel up to it. Because I also have POTS, so cardio is kind of a tricky area. We'll talk about that later. So what are compound lifts? Compound lifts are the really big exercises. So things like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, things that work most of your body at one time. So you always want to put those at the beginning of your workout because obviously they're the most intense, they take the most energy. So start with 1 to 2 compound lifts, and then you're going to move to 2 to 4 accessory lifts. So these are things that are focusing on 1 to 2 muscles at a time. So think like bicep curls, glute kickbacks, things like that. And then after that, if I feel up to it, I'll do about 20 minutes of cardio. But I try to do low impact cardio to keep my joints safe. So instead of running, I'll do walking on a treadmill, or if my POTS is really bad that day, I'll do the sitting down bicycle thing, whatever that's called, because that's super easy. I can literally watch TikTok while I'm doing it and I'm still getting in some cardio. Also, if you want my exact workout plan that I use, I will have it linked down below, so that way you can know exactly what I'm doing on which days of the week and the workout routine that works best for me. It also explains the principles that I'm using, so if you want to customize it, you can totally do that too. Okay, so we've made our workout plan, we've talked about how to achieve that, we've talked about the actual workout. Now, how do you keep yourself safe with EDS? Like, how do you keep your joints safe so you don't have a subluxation or a dislocation? For me, I did a couple of different things. Number one, and I know this is controversial, I wore braces. And my doctor actually told me not to brace my joints. He said, don't use any kind of braces, don't use any kind of mobility aids, because in the long run, that's actually going to weaken your joints and your joints are going to get used to them. But I was at a point in my life where I wasn't able to do anything anyways. So I was like, well, I can't do anything. I don't really imagine this getting any worse. So I'm going to ignore you and wear them anyways. And I found that by bracing my joints before I went to work out, that stabilized them enough that I was, one, actually able to work out. And then in the long run, my muscles were able to stabilize my joints and I didn't have to wear the braces anymore. And I noticed whenever I take a break from working out, my joints get looser again. So this is, again, why strength training in any form is the best, but especially weightlifting. Also, if you want a video about how I brace my joints or what I use, just let me know in the comments below and I'll make that for you guys. Another thing you can do to keep your joints safe when you're working out is to really focus on your form. So when you're learning new exercises, I like to learn them without using any weights, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I would literally practice the form of deadlifting without any weights, and I would take a video of myself doing it. That way I would know what I was doing wrong. And then after I was comfortable using no weights, I would move on to the machines. Now, again, a lot of people are torn about the machines, but if you have EDS, workout machines are really, really helpful in helping you learn where your joints are supposed to be. Because oftentimes we don't even realize that our joints are slipping out or doing weird things. But when you're using a machine, it helps guide you so you can learn where it's actually supposed to be. And then once you feel comfortable using machines, then you can go to free weights. Obviously, yes, free weights are the best, but I think you need to build up to them slowly because, again, if you get injured, that's not going to help anybody. It's also important to note that when you're starting to work out with EDS, you're probably going to experience some pain. And it's really frustrating because, people say, oh, like no pain, no gain, but I don't think they understand like what EDS pain is. Like it's a whole different ball game. And so I did a couple of different things to manage my pain when I first started working out. After I worked out for about a month, I saw a huge improvement in my pain levels, and so these were very short-term measures, but it is important to find some way to manage a little bit of pain. Again, you don't want to be in extreme pain, because that probably means that you don't have the right form or you're overworking your joints, but unfortunately with EDS, a little bit of pain is going to be normal at first. So for me, I found bracing my joints when I went to sleep was really helpful. So I would literally sleep like a mummy with all of my joints wrapped up, and that really helped stabilize them overnight and kind of give my joints a bit of a break. I also use CBD pain relief lotion. So it's literally topical, you apply it where you need it, and that helped a lot too. If you're desperate, lidocaine spray also works. It doesn't always work for people with EDS, but I found it gave me enough relief that I was able to, go to sleep and rest. And then one other thing you can do as well is, take Tylenol on a leaf, but I honestly really discourage that as much as possible. Of course, if you can't survive without it, that's understandable, but it's not a long-term solution, and it's actually going to make your health issues worse in the long run if you're constantly having to take any kind of pain medication. Your diet is also really, really important for reducing your pain. I personally follow an anti-inflammatory diet. I've seen a huge improvement in my pain because of that. And also, if you want another video diving into that, just let me know in the comments below and I'll make that next time. And of course, you need to build in time for recovery. Every single time I work out, I set aside an hour to literally nap afterwards like I am a toddler. I have to have nap time after I work out because that's the only way I'm going to prevent a flare-up. I also make sure to have a very consistent sleep schedule to make sure I'm getting at least 8 hours of sleep a night, which is, really difficult when you're working and in school. But you just have to do that. You don't want to cause a flare-up because that's going to prevent you from doing what you actually need to do. Electrolytes are also super important, so every single time I go to the gym, I bring a giant water bottle with a bunch of electrolytes in it. I'll link my favorite ones down below. Just make sure that they're a pretty clean brand, that they have a good mix of electrolytes, and they don't have a bunch of additives in them. So there you go, that's everything I know about working out with EDS. I hope this video was helpful for you. If there's anything I missed, please let me know in the comments below. I really want this to be helpful for you guys because I remember when I was first diagnosed with EDS and I was looking for someone to teach me how to work out and there just weren't any resources available. So I want to be that person for you. So if you have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram, leave a comment below. Also download my workout guide. It's going to be a lot more thorough and lay everything out for you. And again, if you have any questions, please message me. I just want this to be helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and you learned something about working out with EDS. If you're interested, I have another video about EDS over here, or over here, I don't know where YouTube's gonna put it. And I'm gonna be making more videos in this series about how I live with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, especially going to graduate school and working full time. So please let me know in the comments what else you wanna see, and have a great day.